Okay, this is the July market update for Washtenaw County, and really sort of a summary of what's happened the first 6 months of the year as well. The month of June and going into July and the first 6 months have followed the same pattern for Washtenaw County. Washtenaw County is the strongest economic engine in the state, certainly the strongest in terms of the housing activity. And we're seeing that across all price ranges. Inventories are very tight. Certainly the tightest in the under 250 price range. If you break the Washtenaw County into three segments as we typically do, the under 250, 250 to 500, and 500 and above. Under 250 inventories are tight. They've declined this year compared to last. Sales, as a matter of fact, have not jumped as much in the under 250 price range, and it's mainly because homes have appreciated so much that a lot of that inventory has moved into the over 250, where you see most of the activity for Washtenaw County. And in those price ranges, inventories still are tight, even though a number of new homes for sale have entered the market throughout the year. The number of homes for sale, new listings coming in the market, have increased in that 250 to 500 range, but the number of sales have increased even faster, so inventories have continued to decline there. Values have jumped in that price range, and they've jumped it in the over 500 price range. In fact, jumped a lot more than we anticipated. In fact, in the over 500 price range, although inventories are rising, which means it's going to feel slower for sellers, because although sales are up, inventories are up even faster. That's been true for the first 6 months. It continued into June and July, the same thing. But values have still gone up. And as we said last month, for Washtenaw, we don't expect the upper end price values to continue at the same pace they have been, because at some point in time, as inventories continue to exceed the growth in buyers, you're going to see some flattening out of values. And in general, Washtenaw County will settle a little bit in value increases. We don't have an expectation that for the balance of this year into 2017, we're going to see the same appreciation rates that we've seen in 14, 15, and into 16. Now, certainly, City of Ann Arbor is the strongest market, probably the hottest market in the state, save maybe Royal Oak, Berkeley for Oakland County. So that price range and those prices are still going up and seem to have a strong demand. We're still seeing multiple offers in that market, so it's as hot as there is anywhere. But at some point that will reach a point where values will sort of exceed the ability for the typical home buyer, and what you'll see is sort of a spilling over of buying. We're seeing that now. We're seeing actually across all markets in the metro area, we're seeing buyers that were looking in that hot market, whether it's downtown Ann Arbor, whether it's Royal Oak, whether it's downtown Traverse City, seeing the values rising, and they're choosing to spill over to an outlying adjacent market where the homes are a little bit more affordable. The wonderful news is that's bringing up the values of those markets as well. So all boats are rising in this rising tide. Overall, as I said, Washtenaw County, Michigan economy is strong. Washtenaw County is the strongest piece of that, but throughout the country, Michigan is leading in terms of the strength of the housing market. Our inventories are tight, maybe not as crazy tight as the East and West Coasts, but still tight, and our buyer demand is strong. So there really isn't anything that we see on the horizon that will be a strong negative for housing for Washtenaw County, except the realization that it is slowing a bit, and we don't expect as wild a market going, certainly into the fall anyways, for seasonal issues. It just tends to slow down in the fall and in the winter, but also just general demand. At some point in time, the pent-up demand that we've seen gets released, and we settle back down to more of what the normal economy is providing, and that will happen. Now, for Washtenaw, that may not happen until next year or even the year after, as long as there's the economic engine driving things. So it's all good news. Just a little bit taper, particularly in the upper end, it's good news, but still be realistic in that it's in some markets it's still strong, but just not as strong as it was before, so it'll feel a little bit slower. And sellers do have to be aware of pricing. The higher the value of the home, the more they have to be cognizant of the price and of the true demand. As the higher the price, the thinner the market, the fewer the buyers, and the more you have to be aware of pricing and where you stand in the marketplace. But overall, very great news. Thanks.